The hardest truth in investing isn't about the markets or numbers. It's about what lives inside every investor's mind. Fear, doubt, and that paralyzing chill when everyone else tells you, you're crazy. The boldest moves, the ones that break the mold, shake the foundations, force the world to notice, never come wrapped in applause. Instead, they're met with skepticism, with sneers, with cold shoulders. Why? Because the world's comfort lies in sameness, in rules, in the safe and the expected. When someone steps beyond that, they don't just break the status quo, they threaten it. And the status quo fights back harder than any market crash. Think about how often it's happened. Every revolutionary investment, every breakthrough venture started with people whispering doubts. It's too risky. It won't work. They're just lucky. The bold steps demand trust. Not just trust in an idea or a bottom line, but trust in vision, in courage, in the gut feeling fueled by knowledge and instinct. Most people want to play it safe. They want the guaranteed payoff. They want to follow the herd because that feels easier, less lonely, less dangerous. But greatness does not come from comfort. It comes from discomfort, from wrestling the unknown into submission. This isn't just about money. It's about your identity as an investor, as a leader, as someone who refuses to settle for the half measures life offers. Doubt is the firewall between the ordinary and the extraordinary. When doubt seeps in, it poisons your confidence. It chains you to hesitation. But here's what the doubters don't get. That same doubt is a signpost. It points exactly where you need to lean in harder. That uneasy voice in your head is the cost of being on the right track. Notice it, understand it, but do not obey it blindly. The real problem? Society is built to punish the bold. Systems reward those who follow the script, not those who rewrite it. The loudest voices will tell you to conform, to stay in your lane, to play by the rules. But those rules were made for the many, for the safe, for the mediocre. They weren't made for the rare few who see beyond the horizon, who imagine a world not as it is, but as it could become. When you choose to invest boldly, you're not just risking capital, you're risking exile, misunderstanding, isolation. It's a lonely road, yes, but it's the only road that leads to the future. Here's the raw truth you've seen, but maybe never faced fully. The real cost of bold investing is discomfort. It's the feeling that you're standing apart, invisible in your insight, while everyone else wades through conventional thinking. Sometimes it's crushing. Sometimes it burns so deeply that the safest option looks like surrender. But what if that discomfort is exactly what fuels your rise? What if every second you feel doubted is a second you're shaping the next reality? The greatest investors in history didn't become legends by following the crowd. They became legends by dancing on the edge of chaos, by embracing doubt and turning it into an unfair advantage. So how to survive this relentless doubt? First, you must treat the noise like background static. Let it exist, but remove it from your focus. You've heard the stories of investors who failed spectacularly because they let the doubts echo louder than their conviction. Don't be those investors. Instead, cultivate an inner fortress where your vision lives, grows, and sharpens. Inside that fortress, doubt is a visitor, never the master. Next, surround yourself with those rare voices that spark your fire, the few who burn as fiercely as you do. Most people won't understand your vision. That's normal. Find the ones who do, the ones who see the flicker of possibility through the shadows of uncertainty. Build your own autonomous network, a tribe of the exceptional and the misaligned who refuse mediocrity. This is not about catering to the many, but about bonding with the few who amplify your strength. You cannot fight the world's noise alone, but together you can drown it out with the roar of shared purpose. Patience is another weapon. The boldest investments are almost never about quick wins. They're long games, they're stealth moves, they're quiet storms gathering strength before they upheave entire markets. Eternal patience, knowing when to strike and when to sit still, is the difference between the bold investor who prospers and the one who burns out. Trust that time is on your side if you maintain the discipline to weather the storms. Then there's the hardest lesson. unlearning what everyone teaches you about playing it safe, about fearing failure, about seeking validation. True freedom in investing comes from shedding those chains. No one hands you the tools for rebellion. You have to forge them yourself. Question everything, even your own instincts, not to paralyze yourself, but to sharpen them. Trust only what withstands relentless scrutiny. This is what separates noise from signal, fantasy from reality. When you can untangle your thinking from the collective illusions of the masses, you unlock clarity other investors only dream of. Bold investments feel most shaky precisely because they are rewriting the rules. They stumble because they're not following any established map. They're drawing new routes across uncharted territory. Every moment of hesitation is just the tension building before a jump. Not everyone will believe, and that's the point. The world isn't ready at first, and maybe it never will be. The job of the bold investor is to be ready anyway. Here is what changes everything. The moment you stop trying to prove the world right and start proving yourself right, that's when power shifts. Doubt doesn't disappear, but it stops controlling you. You become the master of your narrative, the architect of your financial destiny. Your bold moves become less about chance and more about inevitability because they're grounded in deep conviction, rigorous analysis, and an unbreakable network of trust. Remember, most investors live trapped by conventional dogma, craving approval and comfort, chasing fleeting trends. But you, if you're listening, are called to something else. To rupture the ordinary, to challenge assumptions, to create what many will never dare to imagine. This calling is heavy, yes, dangerous even. But it's also the birthplace of power. So here's how to harness that power every time doubt tries to immobilize you. Recognize that the bolder your move, the thicker the fog of disbelief around it. When the world says you're reckless, lean in harder, because recklessness is just courage misunderstood. When they say it's impossible, remember, impossible is just an invitation to the rare few who refuse to quit. When they say you'll fail, that's your green light. Invest not just in assets, but in radical self-trust. Invest not just in ideas, but in building your own tribe of radical thinkers and doers. Invest not just to follow markets, but to redefine markets. The bold investment is a seed of transformation. It's a rebellion against comfort, a declaration that freedom is not given, it's taken. And finally, never forget, the safe path is a slow death of your fire. The doubted investment is life breathed into your mission. So when doubt tries to silence you, when the world laughs, when the voices grow loud, hold your ground. Because boldness is born from doubt, and the world belongs to those who dare to trust it anyway.